I find Andrew Tate to be a very interesting person to listen to. There's a lot. I am not materialist. I don't care. I started my business to be free. I don't have expensive cars. I don't have expensive watches. I don't relate to any of that stuff. But
Me too.
he has a lot of things where I'm like, it's right on. So there's no reason you can't like.
Yeah. See, I've got a slightly different perspective on this one, especially in regards to Tate. The way that I view that is a lot of people want to argue whether he's right or whether he's wrong, etc., etc. The thing I like about Tate is that he's a man who's lived a life that is very, very interesting, and it's full of adventure. And he's been a kickboxing world champion. He's done all kinds of very interesting things. And a lot of the time, the people that you listen to online, they're not going to tell you anything you can't read in a book, you know. Yep. But Tate has been around the world, and he's done some very interesting things. And also, another thing that I find very interesting about him and the phenomenon of Tate is that he's tapping into something, in my opinion, that is almost transcendent. It's something that is archetypal, and it's something that is deeply resonant. It's particularly with young men. And what Tate represents to me is this gigantic void that we have in our culture at the moment, whereby we don't have any action heroes anymore. We don't have any Bruce Willis in Die Hard. We don't have any of these people who are like our heroes that we can look up to. He's filling that void. And also, all of the different corrupting features of the Hollywood movies these days, how they're ruining all of these archetypes that we relate to. We actually need that, in my opinion. And when Hollywood continues to just ruin these movies, somebody's going to come up and somebody's going to come in there and they're going to fill that need for our call to adventure and for our hero's journey. And because people need to see that sort of stuff, especially young people need to see that sort of stuff, and they're going to intrinsically relate to it.
And of course, what attracts the part about him that I really like is just his anti-establishment, anti-authority position. I mean, that's to me, that I can overlook everything else just because he's just got a big F you to the system. And that's just, to me, the best thing. But it's so interesting that him and Jordan Peterson appeal to a lot of the same young men. Yet if you hear Jordan Peterson talk about Andrew Tate, he's got, because of Jordan's religious background, he's got to like be, and it's like, Jordan, you got like a big overlap, maybe like in more than
it upsets me when I see that, honestly. That's one thing that like it disappoints me about Jordan Peterson, is that obviously with the Daily Wire, and he's got a very conservative base, and there's that overlap there where he can't really be seen to be endorsing Andrew Tate. But if they sat down face to face and had a conversation, and if Jordan Peterson gave him the same sort of time and respect and space that he gave to other people, then I don't think that he would. They would necessarily be so at odds. And the other thing about that is as well that Jordan Peterson's very against the whole. He sees Andrew Tate as a pimp and stuff. It doesn't really bother me if I'm totally honest. I mean, if it was something that was forced and something that was like illegal, then I would be more judgmental about it. But it was a consensual thing, and he comes from a certain background, and he's no choir boy. He didn't come from like a nice neighborhood or anything. He's come from the ends, and he's from basically the ghetto, and he was a fighter, and he's had to claw his way to the top. And you have a guy like that, and you look at their track record in life, there are going to be things, and I've met a lot of guys like this, especially through the combat sports industry. Sometimes I've been at a combat sports event or at a dinner, and I've been with people and done podcasts and all that sort of thing, and I've left being like, I think that guy might have killed people, like, but some of these people are the most interesting people I've ever met. So life is complicated, you know.
Yeah, no one has nuance anymore. But even if Jordan absolutely hated certain positions, it doesn't matter. You can still look at the things you're in total agreement on. If you're going to alienate every single person because they don't agree with this is what drives me crazy about everyone on both sides. There's so few people that just look at where people can work together, and that's where I think people like as far apart as like Andrew Tate and Jimmy Dore are interesting, because they realize if the people. Left, right, center, anarchist, libertarian, if the people just realize that the real problem is the governments and the big corporations, the establishment, those people would be in big trouble, because there'd be enough of the public to really cause a ruckus. As long as they keep everyone separated, calling each other fascists and communists, then, you know, I mean,
it's the oldest trick in the book, you know. It's the oldest trick in the book. It's to divide and conquer, and you see this in many different places in the world where they want people fighting amongst each other. They want the civil wars so that people don't come together and say, "Hey, who's the guy who's really been pushing us around this whole time?"
Well, I mean, look at who funded Hamas.
Yeah.
How did ISIS, the Mujahideen start, or Al Qaeda, or any of these groups? I mean, it's not like they just grew organically. I mean, they all had little help and support from big powers that wanted to do exactly what we're talking about. And it happens on a cultural, it happens all the way from giant superpowers down to YouTube channels. I mean,
BLM as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just completely crazy.